On October 14, 1993, at exactly 3:14 a.m., every television station across the Midwestern United States went completely dark. For 7 minutes, viewers who were awake did not see standard emergency warning cards or colored test bars. Instead, their television monitors displayed a starkly glowing gray screen. The audio feed broadcasted a rhythmic, low-frequency humming sound that perfectly simulated a slow, heavy human heartbeat echoing through an empty, concrete room. The visual static suddenly shifted into a crisp, high-contrast text layout that labeled the transmission as Emergency Directive 84. Below this heading, a cold, automated voice began reading a series of dates from the previous calendar year. Mysteriously, none of these specific dates existed in standard historical records or modern almanacs. The broadcast referred to these missing time periods explicitly as redundant temporal blocks that required immediate public psychological evacuation. A grainy black and white instructional diagram then appeared on the screen, illustrating a human skull with an exposed, heavily cross-hatched brain. The automated narrator instructed all citizens to close their eyes tightly and begin mentally unremembering the entire month of September. Viewers were warned that any persistent memories of that specific period were actually synthetic fabrications. The broadcast stated these false thoughts were leaking directly from corrupted residual geographic coordinates. The protocol. The broadcast then displayed a heavily pixelated, stationary video feed of an empty suburban street corner, blanketed in thick, unnatural fog. The street signs in the footage were completely blank, completely devoid of any text or numbers. The mechanical voice firmly instructed viewers that if they ever recognized this specific intersection in their daily lives, they must immediately step backward into the nearest shadow and wait for sunrise. According to the tape, the United States government had successfully initiated a full chronological rollback protocol earlier that spring. The narrator explained that certain days become highly unstable due to localized mass perceptual anomalies. To preserve the structural integrity of the civilian population, these volatile days are systematically harvested, compressed, and broadcasted back into the environment as harmless background static during the late-night television hours. The video quality abruptly degraded further, revealing a flickering list of names and home addresses scrolling rapidly up the screen. A bold, white warning block appeared over the scrolling text, reading, "Do not document the missing citizens." The automated voice matter-of-factly explained that these individuals had accidentally remained inside the harvested days. They were now considered structurally redundant assets who no longer possessed a valid legal or physical identity. The overwritten reality. Viewers were strictly ordered to destroy all personal diaries, family photographs, and handwritten calendars dating from the previous autumn season. The emergency alert claimed that paper mediums could easily store lingering traces of the deleted timeline. If these physical objects were left fully intact, they could actively attract the attention of the archivists. The broadcast cryptically defined these entities as the cleanup crew responsible for smoothing over chronological tiers. The transmission then shifted to a highly disturbing, silent loop of an old living room covered in thick gray dust. A family of 3 sat stiffly on a couch, staring directly into a television screen that was outputting blinding static. Curiously, their faces were completely smooth, completely lacking eyes, noses, or mouths. The text overlay on the bottom of the video feed read, "An ideal household adapting to the final redundancy." Suddenly, the low-frequency audio heartbeat spiked aggressively in volume, transforming into a sharp, metallic screeching noise that lasted several seconds. The text on the television screen changed to a single localized command: "Check your left wrist immediately." The automated voice stated that citizens who noticed a small, raised dark blue mark under their skin had successfully been processed into the current, newly revised version of reality. The leak, those without the blue mark, were told to remain perfectly still and avoid looking out their bedroom windows until morning. The narrator warned that the external landscape was currently undergoing a comprehensive spatial rendering process to align with the new calendar. Looking outside during this critical phase would cause irreversible optical corruption. The television screen then displayed a live, deeply unsettling audio waveform tracking the distant, collective screaming of thousands. The broadcast explicitly detailed the nature of the 1992 anomaly, claiming a full 48 hours had been permanently removed from human history. This time, theft was deemed necessary after a localized atmospheric frequency caused civilian shadows to detach and move independently. The government text assured viewers that the detached shadows had been safely quarantined inside Channel 21. They could now only exist as dark, flickering shapes behind standard television programs. In its final minutes, the emergency transmission grew increasingly desperate and erratic, losing its cold, clinical government tone entirely. The text scrambled into a chaotic, repetitive sequence of phrases that read, "The static is not empty. We are still living inside the static." The automated voice began to distort heavily, sounding less like a computer and more like a massive, weeping choir trapped underneath a heavy layer of ice. The video feed abruptly cut to a view of a dark, empty broadcasting control room with wires hanging loosely from the ceiling. A figure could be seen standing silently in the far corner, facing away from the camera lens. The figure's limbs were unnaturally long, bent at angles that defied normal human anatomy. The caption beneath this harrowing image read, "Thank you for participating in the 1993 Historical Realignment Initiative." At exactly 3:21 a.m., the strange emergency broadcast terminated with a sharp, blinding flash of white light across the screen. The television network immediately resumed its standard programming, broadcasting a cheerful, brightly colored commercial for a local appliance store. To the average viewer, it appeared as though nothing unusual had occurred. However, local police stations reported over 4,000 identical, frantic phone calls within the next hour. Every single caller reported the exact same terrifying detail. Their home clocks had mysteriously jumped forward by a full 24 hours. Additionally, thousands of waking citizens discovered a fresh, tender blue mark appearing just beneath the skin of their left wrists. The day had been successfully rewritten, leaving behind only the faint, eternal hum of television static to remind humanity of the timeline they had lost forever.